Okay, folks, let's get some fan going on here. The Ben is here. You weren't on here yesterday. I did watch that video, and I don't know what to make of it. That Fred Digba, whatever his name is, is that like a serious video? Is Dibna? So I have a couple of questions about the Dibna video. I'm glad you're here. I watched the one where he was trying to dismantle a chimney. That just seems like the wrong way to do that. Okay, why are you falling down? Okay. That's the wrong way to do that. Is that like a serious video? Like that's what he does, like a documentary about some daredevil? Wow, that's the wrong way. That's not how we do it in America. We blow shit up here and that's like, I want you to take down the chimney, but don't harm a single brick. I want you to use them for something else. And what accent does he have? Because he had an interesting accent. He had an extremely heavy accent, but it was actually pretty easy to understand because he didn't talk really fast. A little bit of a pirate tongue where he says, and me heart, me, when he says me instead of mine. Interesting. You guys have one language. You guys invented the language. What's wrong with you guys? That's a Bolton accent. It's pretty close to mine. Well, it sounds like I'd be able to understand you. No, I actually understood him really well. He spoke really clear. I had no subtitles. Which means if I lived there, I'd really be able to understand it. Yeah, fucker's crazy. That's... Oh, no. I said, oh, I'm not going to die that way. Don't run your mouth, man. Stay humble until you've won the race. Until that trophy's hanging around your neck. Stay humble. Where is the pipettes? There we go. Exactly where they should be. All right, we got some new water here. Let's put some of these pipettes here. So I'm kind of in a quandary. And I'm in a quandary, and it's not a decision I have to make right now. But I'm kind of like all ahead stop. Obviously, I'm going to do this basing on these guys. And then I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I got the stuff for this scenario, but I don't have the tables. And it's an 8 foot by 8 foot table, and it's hot as shit anyways, so... I was actually surprised. I looked through my scenario books, and there was quite a few scenarios that are actually on a 2 by 4 table. I have a 2 by 4 table in the garage, that I can set up out of the way. I can set up a 2 by 4 table in here, and leave it set up. So I may decide to do that instead. And it's only important because I want it to be a pre-built scenario, so it's supposedly kind of balanced, and it has some you got to do this by this turn kind of stuff that I don't want to have to play 10 times to figure out what it is. I don't plan on replaying the same scenario a second time. They did a demo of them when they could. A lot of chimneys are too close to houses, have bricks flying through living room windows. No way. What's wrong with the chimney? Leave it up. So I was actually surprised. Quite a few scenarios are on a 2 by 4 table, and some of them that I would call unusual. Like that one with the tank riders is a 3 by 3. So I'm like, okay, well, So I know you guys want me to do Brits. I want to do Brits. I got nothing against them. I got really cool British figures. I'm not so sure that the scale of these scenarios is accurate. And here's what I'm going to get at. Supposedly you could do this for 15 and 20 millimeter. Here's one called Roy. This is from the Monty's Epsom. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 2x4. Inside that 2x4, a good half of it is like fields. Okay, I'm good with that. Then you got this dirt road that cuts through here. You got a gully. I mean, it might be cool to do stuff with some of this stuff. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. I think what I'm going to do next is repaint this little building. I got this little building from days ago, and I'm not happy with how it looks. It looks good, but it's just a little too storybook looking. And this is, I believe, by Musket Miniatures. So the shutters look good, and the window colors look good, and the corners, they look all right, and the brick looks good, but this yellow's too storybook. I might give it a wash and see what I come up with. And if I don't like that, just repaint the yellow part. The rest of it looks fine, This is supposed to be like 15 millimeter for like a barn, but if it's 15 millimeter, you're not looking through those windows very well. You're not going to be able to see what's coming at you. So I've used it in a couple scenarios for sniper. I don't know. I guess I don't have to really worry about what's next, But anyways, this scenario called Royal Tanks, I kind of looked at it. So it's a 2x4 board. Half of it is really closed in. It's got bocage. I've got some bocage already made that I wouldn't mind redoing. Enhancing it, I should say. Enhancing it's probably more accurate. And the Germans have a couple of Panthers, a platoon HQ, and 2 squads. So it's not crazy. And the Brits have a couple of infantry squads, a 6-pounder, a platoon HQ, and 3 Churchills. I don't know. I'm not ready to play yet because it's just too warm. So, I guess as long as I'm working towards something, it should be able to be, fine. We'll see. I shouldn't worry about that stuff. Just keep painting. I gotta base these guys anyways. Small learning scenario on a small footprint to get familiar with the rules. Learn nuts on a 2x2 terrain tile with 1 building and some template terrain. If you figure, but nuts is easy, isn't it? I can't remember if I saw a demo of it or if it's a different one I'm thinking of. Is it the one? Is nuts made by this guy named Buck Surdu? Surdu. That's the one I've seen a demo of. And you didn't roll dice. You pulled cards, and that's what happened. That's a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker for me. Other people may like that. Other people may be really good at shuffling cards. I'm terrible. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and paint the Soviets first, because there's not that many of them. And we did the basing the other day. This took forever. But whatever. I'm doing a lot of figures at once. I typically do not operate this way. I painted these pretty much, I think, by the each. Pretty much by the each. So the Soviets are these guys plus the mortar team. Where's a happy little mortar by himself? And this guy. And this guy. Okay. Okay. We're going to get this out. Water's probably everywhere now. And the chocolate brown, which I probably put back, didn't I? place. It's difficult game to get the hang of. It's by Ed Tech Tex. Good Lord. Teixeira. Okay. What's Buck's called? His is also abstract like that. I said the one, and I'll say it again. If this game had never been created, I'd probably be playing Chain of Command and having to do something with the vehicle rules, because the vehicle rules are just, they're not acceptable. They're too generic for my taste. Sorry, I'm a treadhead. But that's the easy part to do, and that's also the fun part to do. Alright, I need to get... I'm getting really tired of the glasses on, the glasses off, the glasses on, the glasses off, the glasses on, the glasses off, the glasses on, the glasses off. You get the idea. Today was a excruciatingly challenging day. The first hour and a half, I probably earned my year's pay in it. Trying to fix everything. One of those days I said if this was my first week of the job, I would have quit. No, that's just way too challenging for somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. All right. Who's going to be our first guinea pig? Well, let's do this guy with a mortar around him. So anyways, that scenario that has the Churchills actually has SS troops. That scenario is actually Scots with Churchill support against SS guys. So the problem with that is like, okay, I don't have any SS. And I'm going to paint them. I mean, I don't have any painted. And, you know, it'd be a challenge to paint them, but I'd be starting from scratch. So those racist bastards can wait. This away. We're going to use that just for the stuff that needs to use it. Chain of Command assumes a knowledge of the period and tactics. There are a lot of nuances which you miss unless you play all the time. I prefer Ain't Been Shot Mum. I suspect Ain't Been Shot Mum is more of a non-individual basing. I don't know, the Chain of Command's got a lot of videos there on YouTube where you can see how they make mistakes and that little guy cheat. I don't know what that guy's name is, but he's definitely shifty. A shifty lad. Gotta watch them little guys. Doesn't always apply. The guy I was talking about this weekend, I was getting all worked up where he's shifty is not little. So that doesn't always apply to that. So apparently a lot of people in a little town that I live in still don't have power. I'm like, man, we didn't even lose it. Count your blessings. We also have all the wiring in the neighborhoods underground. So if the feeders are clear, there's no reason to. It wasn't that windy. We got one tree in the back that's kind of split in two. One branch is kind of split in two, and it didn't fall. And if it would have fallen, it wouldn't have fallen anything. It just would have fallen in the backyard. But it's still there. The internet was not dependable. There was one time probably about 3 in the afternoon. It wasn't working. Too hot. But then it straightened itself out after maybe an hour and a half. I figured probably because the storm was directly north and the direction that they needed to go to the next tower. That's why I didn't even attempt to try to get on the computer. You know, like this. We just filmed it through the phone. I caught up on a couple of videos of somebody I'm subscribed to. One of the first people I was subscribed to, this guy in England, and I noticed that he was actually one of the reasons that I'm like, I could do this. I could do this and be more dynamic than him. And it's not that I minded him not being dynamic, it was very low entry level type of filming. I'm like, I can do this, you know, and he was one of the reasons that I actually got into doing some of the filming. But he puts out a few videos, but he's in everything, and it's like, you know, I guess that's how you get more subscribers, you know, but that's not really what I'm interested in. But regardless, you put out a video, and I noticed I hadn't seen any of his videos in a long time. So I don't know when he did it. But he has all his comments muted on every one of his videos. And I'm wondering, because he had a video that I actually wanted to comment on, and I couldn't. And so he must have had, and that wasn't the case with him before. He might have just been somebody who just got egged on by somebody and just like, I don't want to deal with this stuff anymore. So, you know, I just have all the comments moderated. You know, not because of you guys, but there's people that just come in and, you know, they're trying, you know, yell fire in a crowded theater, and then you got to deal with that damage control. So you should go around blasting. I've got the power song. Yeah, kicking it like it's 1989. I'm pretty sure everybody in my neighborhood is in the same boat I was. We didn't lose it, but. All the power's underground. It's just the feeders. You know, and a lot of people that live really rurally and may live on a road where there's, you know, to get power to their house, there's this one cord that goes to their house, and if that gets cut by something, you don't have power. And when are they going to come fix you? Well, they're going to fix, you know, repairs that they can get 20, 30, 40 people up at once, and prioritize those, not one where they just get up one guy, you know, so. But yeah, I was thinking, okay, so let's say no, they're not even moderated, the comments. There's like comments turned off. What would the purpose in me doing a video and not having any comments? Like that doesn't, you know, like I can't get any kind of, I don't even know if people are liking it, you know? But I wonder if he got in pissing matches with other people. He seems like a pretty calm guy, but he did get on one soapbox. You know, even the calmest people always find a hill to die on. You know, isn't that the saying? Something like that. I'm gonna die on this hill. We all have our things that we're adamant about. I certainly have them. But I don't feel like converting anybody, and some people do. And I don't care. You know, you can. You know, you want to play a shitty game system? Go right ahead. I don't have to tell you that it's a shitty game system or anything. Maybe you're enjoying it. Yeah, I don't get it. I think some people get too invested with the pleb discussions in the comments and see it as their realm to police. Yeah, I don't. I don't get into it. I don't get into it. And the easiest thing is just block somebody. You know, I got in a couple comments on some of the posts that I did on Facebook. Hey, can I have a discussion with you, or you mind if I what is it, something like that, and it's just some freaking bot or whatever, or one of these guys that are always purveying these 3D print dudes. I don't even know. I don't know what the heck their deal is. Probably to get your information and steal it, but they're pervasive. Like, yeah, I see where you're going with that. Nope, blocked. But some people like turmoil, you know. I know some people like to argue with people. I don't think it's worth my time. And why bother arguing with somebody if nobody's going to change their mind? It's not. Isn't exactly the UN. There are standards on here. UN, multinational organization of regional observers and negotiators. Moron. Yeah, I see it all the time. Today I saw it. Another one of those bot sites. You know, it'd be like a picture of some tank or something like that, and it gets people. I guess some people want to create these fake things to try to get lots of commentary going on them, and the old defenders of Europe. When you see pictures of Nazis on there, it's like I don't believe that there's anybody that thinks that. I mean, yeah, there might be one in a million. There might be one person in a million people that feels that way. Legitimately, everybody else is just a fucking troll. I hope I'm right. I hope it's not even one in a million. And I'm certainly opinionated, but when I see somebody who's irrational, I just block them. So if if they're ever on fire and they need somebody to pee on them, I can't hear them. You know, I'm just sorry, dude. You should have been a reasonable person. And that's not me having a conversation with them. I just see the kind of stuff that they're spewing, and I'm like, no. One guy was like, had some kind of a conversation. I saw his comment. Was like, I'm even more left than a Marxist. I'm like, blocked. I don't want to see you utter a single thing ever again. Still living in your mom's basement, I see. Man, I saw old Tick. I was watching him yesterday. He did an hour long video on his reaction, I guess, a stabbing that I didn't even know about this. It was some kind of stabbing that happened in somewhere in the UK where they killed like 3 kids, and he did like this video. And I was like amused. I watched the whole thing. I was so actually surprised that. But I like him. I like listening to him. He makes sense. But yeah, some people just want to get into the back and forth with people. If somebody, makes some charge against you, and you feel like you got to defend yourself, and like, nope, you're dead to me. And that's the attitude you got to have, or go crazy, or send a kill team after them. And I don't have those kind of connections. The AI history crap has been pushed out of my feed after I started following Centurii Chan and Iron Lily. Iron Lily sounds like a really ugly stripper. Iron Lily. Centurii Chan. What is he? Is he the guy that is from the Han Dynasty that met the first Roman? Centurii Chan. Rome's cutest centurion. I tattle on myself anyways. All my characters are very gay sometimes. Okay. You been drinking? What the hell is a wafus? Now, there are one or two, maybe a couple of Asianish, I'll make up my own words, Asianish artists. Nothing like this. It's actually not even combat related. Adult content. Yeah, show it to me. Oh, okay. This person lives in the basement, I guess. I don't get the whole anime face thing. One of them is a Korean artist girl, and she does, I don't know how I came across her, but she does these things, and the art style is, this is when I realized I really didn't care much for digital artists, because I'm like, there's nothing to that. And, that's not true. I mean, I would be no good at it, but I think it was like on an advertising or whatever, and she does this thing. Can't remember what her name is. I follow her on Facebook, but just like everything on Facebook, you only see the last 25 things, and I thought that was BS, but it's not, because I'll go like months and not see or something from somebody. I don't remember what her name is, but she's really talented, and she does these things of like this girl with like her pets, and don't go there, and like a dog, like she's reading with like a dog, or she's reading with a cat, and it's just really innocent, like it's really, really well done. It almost like advertising kind of stuff. I don't know how to find out who the fuck I'm following, but she's really, really talented, and I guess that's the only Asianish thing. I can't think if I have a second one, but I'm in for a shock. Is a Japanese. Oh, you reminded me of something. It's how Japanese say wife. Okay. I'm in for a shock? Nah. I watched Caligula recently. I'm good. I can handle anything. I can handle anything. It actually didn't disturb me as much as I thought it was going to disturb me. I'm a veteran in that stuff anymore. I'm not 19. Oh, man. So, on the Japanese, I'd be interested to know, because I just got done reading something on the Pacific War, and those guys, not everybody, but as a general rule, those guys are ruthless, absolutely ruthless, and nowadays they're like absolutely like into weird kink stuff, and I'm wondering if I wonder if they just didn't. That was always the case, or they're just like, all right, well, we won't behead people, but we're gonna do this instead. I don't know. It just I'm not up on their culture and stuff. I just like their cars. That's it. Once they put the steering wheel on the correct side for us, I'm not putting on that side. No, but I'm just reading it, and it's like, man, these guys, like they were talking about. I was reading this part about where they just before they evacuated Manila, and they just basically like they would just rounded up people and just like mass raped them. I'm like, you know, I mean, I'm sure other places did stuff like that, but I'm just thinking, like raped in groups. I don't know. I need to ask somebody who's really into their culture. I'm not really into their culture. I don't know anything. They're a mystery to me. Could ask Nordic, but his parole officer must have got a hold of him. Yeah, I don't really know what the whole cultural thing is. In the old neighborhood, we had I don't know what country they're from. I'm sure there's subtle differences from different cultures, and this Asian couple, they were like the alpha and the omega. He was like a rotund. He looked like a happy Kim Jong Un or whatever that guy's name is. And he was like happy all the time, smiling, looking around. He'd wave at you and stuff. And his sister, wife, whatever it was that she would walk with him, absolutely, it was like forbidden. It was like she was going to be shot if she veered her head off of the road. It was like she was like deadpan, wouldn't move. That's it. They were like totally different from each other. She either wear an umbrella, and she was younger than I was. She's, I don't know, 30 maybe, late 20s, 30, not older than 32. Always wearing an umbrella or a hat or something like that. I know they don't like getting in the sun because only commoner sun or I don't know, whatever. So, but it was just really interesting how totally different they were. And I'm not big on, men can do whatever the hell they want. Women have to be, either completely covered or they don't have any rights or, I'm not into that shit. It's weird. Especially if it's like in this country where, we're not going to kill you if you, if you just act like a normal human being, Yeah, that was always really strange. I did have one neighbor, and he moved away afterwards, but he was from somewhere in China and he worked for Nokia. And when the girls were young, my daughter and his daughter, they were equal age, we'd start talking about stuff. And I was working on my Chinese armies at that time, and I talked to him, and it's like, he didn't know anything. He didn't know about that stuff. I mean, he was Chinese, but he doesn't know about history. Just like you watch somebody off the street and you want to talk about, I don't know, some unit in Washington's army. They're not going to know anything, you know. But anyways, I remember he introduced me one time to his wife because he was usually the one that was at the pool with the daughter. I mean, the girls were like 4 years old, 5 years old, maybe 6, and I said, "This is Tony. He knows more about our history than we do." And I'm like, you know, you should know. I mean, you're the one that you can read the script. You know, I'm like, I can't understand those. But anyways, um, yeah, he was always impressed that I knew more about. I said, you know, it's interesting. You know, I don't like China itself, but I think their history is super interesting. You know, I don't like China now. I probably wouldn't like it back then either. They've always been super brutal to everybody. But most civilizations have been super brutal to everybody, especially the British. I hear they're one of the 3 worst, if not the worst empire ever in history. My ancestors would say only in 1508 because of that red-headed bitch. Was she redheaded, or she just had a redheaded wig? I don't know. Waifu. I guess I better turn this on in case nobody's there. Really? That's what we're going with. Let's see, how do I do this? I need to come over here. I need to turn on incognito mode. Yep, that's fine. Continue. And then we're going to I'm going to find myself. I'm going to Google myself in incognito mode. Now I'm going to look at this video. I'm not signed in as me. And then we'll see if it's playing. And it looks like it is. Okay, good. Now, where's the power cord? Google myself in incognito. All right. How many guys I painted? One? Yeah, this takes forever. But if you do it right, you only have to do it one time. I'm here, but I'm about to lie down and probably doze off with a stream in the background. Oh, you need some ASMR? I don't know. You probably found some. You could probably find some ASMR, AMSR. You could find one of those that's cuter than me. I mean, I'm cute, but I'm not your type. I hope. You go to Mitch's house, make a video of him playing with his feet or something like that. ASMR. Some people like that. Ooh. Schnikes. Yeah, I wouldn't do well with those videos. I don't like people whispering. I don't hear well, so all I hear is like the sound of saliva. Shame we never got a Historicon road trip video at a winemaking facility with Mitch. Is that really a thing though? I really wanted to do the trip on the way to Historicon, but they're open the wrong hours. Would have been there's this place. I want to say it's in Danville, Virginia, but it's a town in Virginia, almost on the border with North Carolina, and it's a private collection of military vehicles, and they have like a warehouse, and there's hundreds of vehicles, all lined up, all tanks and stuff like that, and it's either really low cost and it has an excruciatingly long name, American Collection of Armored Vehicles or something like that, and they have hundreds of vehicles, bigger than any other place that I've ever seen, and the setup for them isn't super fancy or anything, but I would have loved to have gone there. But they're only open on Saturdays and Sundays or Fridays and it doesn't work. It's like you'd have to you'd miss all the Historicon. And it's too far to go and do a day trip, but American Armor Museum Historical something or another. I think it's in Danville, Virginia. Tank Museum Tank Museum. AAF Tank Museum. Didn't even tell you where it is. What it's called. American Armored Foundation. Ooh, armored with the U in it. Ooh. Moving up in the world. American Armored Foundation Tank and Ordnance War Memorial Museum. The museum is now permanently closed. What the? Whoops. I wonder what happened here. Well, I guess I won't go to it. Plan your visit. Please note the museum has announced it will be closing. We do not know an exact date. Yeah, because you guys didn't open in the middle of the week. Friday and Saturday, 10 to 4. Why even bother opening? This must have belonged to somebody who's passed away. It was like their past, their oh, it's only 120. It's only 120 tanks. Yeah, you can see a little glimpse of it there. That would have been cool to go to. Oh well. I mean, they're in a warehouse, so you don't need any maintenance on them. They don't let people climb on them. Yeah, a lot of these things are, some guys weird fascination with something, and once they pass on, the rest of his family is like, man, thank goodness we don't have to do that anymore. You know, I'm sure that's what a lot of these cottage industries are too. Like some guy decided to make, resin buildings or something like that, and then he passes away, and the rest of his family is like either don't know how to do it or don't want to do it. Like I'm tired of it was basically we never saw Frank anymore because that's all he was doing was making little buildings for his little men, and we're not continuing that crap. We never made any money anyways. And if people are really interested in something, they'll do it just because it's their fascination for it, and regardless of money. Like I don't paint for anybody. I don't do this for the money. I do it because I love this. Nobody in my family is going to continue doing this stuff. So. And that happens pretty frequently. Who's that great manufacturer who passed away and the rest of his family didn't continue it? The guy in Italy. What was the name of this? Legio Heroica, right? I mean, his figures were like spectacular. I think I have some of his figures that I got by accident, but they're as good as like forged in battle figures. And they're not available anymore because his family didn't want to continue it or couldn't or. That guy was super talented. Well, that was going to take a while. Well, it's always the first coat that takes a long time. After that, it's a heck of a lot easier. Yeah, kind of like Aberdeen. And I never got to go to Aberdeen Proving Ground. By the time we were making these road trips, they'd already closed, moved all their tanks somewhere else. Oh well. I would have just gone there and complained they had the wrong tow hooks, anyways. No, I'm not an expert on tow hooks, but some stuff's like, I don't know about this. Winemaking. I don't. Why I don't do well with wine. Makes me feel yucky. Too sweet. But sweet's Mitch's department. That's definitely his department. Sweet stuff makes me sleepy, so I stay away from it. Yeah, he does sweet stuff and I do caffeine things. This is Budenkin. Rifleman Budenkin. He's got a greener shirt than normal. I like to vary the colors of them a little bit. You know, not every cloth is going to be the same. Just adds a little bit of variety. The equipment's all the same color. But I try to do the textiles, vary them a little bit, just to have interest, something of interest to look at. And if I don't use those other Soviet troops that I painted earlier, which I don't think I'm going to, I don't think I'm going to rebase them. I'm just not happy with how they look. I used them because at the time, that's the only Soviet figures I could find. Actually, I think my buddy was doing he was doing Soviets and I was doing Germans. And he had got all the combat Soviets, and never really liked them. He never really liked combat figures. But he still painted them, so I was like, there's no point in me painting the same figure. So I ended up getting the FAA guys, and I just flat out don't like them. Don't like FAA. I don't like the style they're done in. That's how I should say. I don't like the style they're done in. It's not like I don't like them. It's like not like the guy's a communist or something. Maybe he is, but I don't know. But I just don't like the style they're done in. I'm going to spend several hours on a figure. I'm going to paint who I want to paint. And I'm not sure who the heck has them anymore because the last time I went to Historicon and the time before that, they had a presence. There was 20mm figures of FAA at Historicon. I could say that'd get me into trouble now, but I'm pretty controlled. You know, there's access to everything, so there's no reason to go and I gotta pick this up at the convention because I'm never gonna see it again, or it's a pain in the butt to order it, or you know, it's never any of those things. This is Melnikov, who's one of the loaders, wearing a I almost called it a dust jacket. No, he's got a great coat. Good Lord. Alright, and get me some water. Be right back. All right. I was going to ask you something. You're probably already asleep. I said, I take it you saw the tour that we did in North Carolina. I wish we'd done more of that stuff. That was fun. But I hadn't really thought about it until we were there. And then I'm like, oh crap. I didn't film the first 10 minutes we were there. I missed a very small amount. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. But that's how I like to do stuff. I just like just film it. Forget all this editing stuff and because something really just like the game. If you edit stuff, people start wondering whether or not something really happened or you made it happen. Like I don't watch any reality TV because of that. It ends up being like wrestling. Like okay, this is did this really happen or is it staged? I just don't believe in staging everything. We got to go to the little one now. These cheap ass brushes work pretty well. I got plenty of time to think about what's coming up next because this takes a while to do this. In case you can't tell. If you got a brush that has a lot of detail, that you have a lot of confidence in, set it off to the side. Only use it for the important stuff. Because everything's going to wear out. You might as well just save it for those special moments. Where's this? It's got one little burr here. There we go. Don't abuse it on something that's not worthy of its efforts. That's Melnikov. It's like a name you'd call somebody. You stupid Melnikov. There we go. Yeah, that fourth trip for Historicon's unfortunate. But that's what we had. We had to add that other day. If you have to, if it's going to be in Lancaster and not in Fredericksburg. In Fredericksburg, you just take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and you leave at 0 dark 30 on Wednesday, but you can't get there. You can't leave here on Wednesday and make it around D.C. and Baltimore. You end up like leaving, going about around both of them at rush hour. You'd like miss Historicon. So we had to leave it on Tuesday and hit something on Tuesday on the way up. That's like 4 days off. That's a lot of time off. That's a lot of my time off. I don't have a million days like Mitch does. So he doesn't have a million, but he's got 50 or something like that. He's got some absurd amount of days off. He's almost French. I think they have a shitload of days off, don't they? Or they work like 35 hours. They complain about a 35-hour work week. Well, I don't think that's the case in his, but he has a lot of days off. That's why I paint in the mornings. In the mornings, I'm generally not. I at least slept a few hours, not just been up all day. So we're gonna try to get base at least these Russians here, and then maybe we'll stop because the rest of them are Germans. Oh, we got one American guy. Well, all right, he can chime in there. He can come in here. We'll base these guys. Then we just got the Waffen Wehrmacht. If you've seen any of the figures that I've done, the look through the old figures I've had for a long time, I got a lot of interesting stuff that isn't available anymore that I'm really looking forward to painting. So it's not like, oh, I got to go buy a new army. I don't have to buy a new anything. I'm really happy with putting these guys together. Kaneshiev. Got to make sure you cover every little spot so you don't have this little piece showing, or in this case, some green left over. Some goblin green looking stuff. It wasn't a goblin green, it was a... I know it wasn't goblin green. It was a polyester color that looks similar to goblin green. I don't think it was goblin green. Is this goblin green? Goblin green. Yeah, it's not goblin green. That's a little too like. I may still have. It may still be alive. Yep. God, that stuff smells good. Well, I don't know. It smells good. It's a relaxing smell. Yeah. Mark 1 Citadel paint. Goblin green, baby. I said that on a group that I joined many years ago. Like, yo, the Games Workshop changed, the Citadel changed the formula of their paint because they weren't selling any paintings. I still got paint that's 20 years old at that point. And it hadn't dried out. Well, you're just Games Workshop bashing. Well, who made you the fucking Lord Protector of Games Workshop? They don't give a shit about you. Why should you care about them? They had a great product. Nothing upsets me more than... Well, there are things that upset me more, but... people that... A company that made a really good product, and for whatever reason, they decided to cut corners, and now they just... It's like, you guys knew how to be the best, and then you're just like, screw it. People don't care anymore. We're just going to make crap. Well, okay. Then I'm going to call you out on it. I was at. I mean, a lot of these figures have a large amount of the paint is Games Workshop paint, original Mark One Games Workshop paint. They were painted in the mid 90s, mid to late 90s. I never really played any of the Games Workshop games, but I like their paint. And you guys all really did go to sleep. No kidding. Oh well. Oh, we do what we can. Yeah, so I left that group. If you guys can't even take a joke, if you got the Games Workshop knee pads on, and the problem is those game companies just aren't loyal to you. You'd be like, oh, I only like Games Workshop. I only buy their stuff. Fair enough. They make subject matter that doesn't interest me, but the quality of their figures has always been. I've always appreciated it. Like I look at it, and they were always, especially at the beginning, they were like way above anybody else, and they just do subject matters that just don't interest me. But I always liked their paint. But they'd come up with some cool game, and before I got into it, they'd already discontinued it, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't get into that. Well, I'd get stuck with half of a whatever that I couldn't use because they didn't support their own game. So I question their decision making skills for some things. Just are not. The most consumer friendly choices. And they were one of the first ones that came up with games and miniatures for it. Because usually before that, in the 80s, you either made miniatures rules or you made miniatures. You didn't do both. I'm sure there may have been somebody before Citadel that did that, but they're the first ones I remember that would do that. Yeah, like I said, I didn't mind their miniatures. They just were, I mean, actually, they were pretty freaking cool. They're just subject matters that just don't interest me. Like I'm not interested in Space Marines or fantasy or. Man, I only have a few Soviets. It takes a while to get through them. This guy's Willard, by the way. that didn't stick on very well. Strange. Well, I'm actually going to call it a night because I'm like falling asleep. Oh, geez, I've been on here almost an hour and a half. I didn't know that. Well, there you go. All right, folks, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good evening. All right, bye.